This is Denari Name Segmenter Training Part 5. Today we're talking about the output options that are available from Name Segmenter. So again, the idea here is that Name Segmenter is going to output a list of names or name characteristics, and you can get those names in various formats. To do that, once we've entered all the filter conditions that we want on the Filters tab, we now click on the Output tab to move to that page. And the very first thing we're going to do is select an output type, and that's that big long white drop down field here that we see. And so I click the drop down, I see the various options that are available. So here at the top we have a number of Avery label formats that we can get our names in. We have 1-up labels, number 10 envelopes, an address phone list, which is really just a name and address, phone number, email, that kind of information. It's great for making phone calls and that kind of thing. And then on down here we have what I call the spreadsheet formats, and so they're basically all the same. It's just a kind of a data output. The assumption here is that you're going to get this information in one of these formats and then do something with that data. Quite often you might be sending this off to a mailing house, for example, and they might want it in comma separated value format or tab delimited or something like that. But quite often you're going to output this information to Excel, and so we'll select Excel and take a look at that. The next thing that's required here is a sort order. A sort order just means that, okay, we're going to get this big Excel spreadsheet with all of these names. Do we want it to be listed in account order, contact name order, email order, jurisdiction, and then last name? Last name, comma, first name means it's going to be alphabetical by last name, etc. So we'll just go ahead and select that. And once we do that, we now see we have two buttons. We have a count button and we have a run segment button. So let's just say that over on that filter page we've put in a filter in the giving statistics section that gives us anybody who has given more than $500 in some date range, whatever that is. And right now we just want to know how many people that is. Maybe our mailing house just needs a number for now. Maybe somebody in the office just needs to know how many people that is. So we can just click on Run Count. Denari will then put a very simple report in your inbox that tells you what the number is. It's 783 people or something like that. But if we want the Excel spreadsheet, we can go ahead and click on Run Segment, and Denari will then create that spreadsheet and put that into our inbox as well. Now, this spreadsheet that we get is going to have more information than you want. That spreadsheet is really enormous, and it's kind of gotten that way over the years by people, calling us or contacting us and saying, hey, if you could just add this field, boy, this would be great. It would solve a problem that I have. And so that has been done over time, and we've kind of stopped doing that because the spreadsheet has just gotten so large. But one of the common complaints is that the spreadsheet is too large. You're going to get things in the output like the account number and the first name, last name, street address, city, state, and zip, and lots of other things as well. You're going to get merge fields. They're called line 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and that's where Denari merges the information into the fields for you. So for example, if the record that you're outputting is an organization, Denari will put the contact name in line 1, the organization in line 2, the street and city information in lines 3 and 4, and so forth. If it's not an organization or there's nothing in the organization field in the name record, Denari will put the name and address in line 1 and the street address in line 2, the city, state, and zip in line 3, and so forth. So those are fields. If you were doing a merge into Word, for example, you could use line 1 through 5 to be your merge fields in that Word document, and Denari kind of handles the data for you so that it looks nice in the Word document. And then there's lots of other fields, as I said, in that spreadsheet. So chances are you're going to get your spreadsheet and then delete some of the columns that you don't want or don't need at that point. But again, remember, we're not getting gift information here. We are getting giving information at this point. I'm sorry, we're getting name information at this point. Now, I'm getting a little ahead of myself there. We can get giving information by checking this little box that says Include Statistics. What that does is it gives us the standard spreadsheet with all of those columns, but then it adds to that the giving or statistical information from the donor. So we're going to get things like year to date, life to date, first gift amount, largest gift, last gift, smallest gift, average gift, all kinds of things. There will be 4 columns there that are amount 1, 2, 3, and 4 that actually represents 4 years of calendar giving for the donor. So amount 1 would be last year, amount 2 would be the year before, amount 3 before that, and so forth. So we're going to get giving information in that output, and again, it's probably more information than you want, but that's one way to get that kind of information. Now, there is one exception to the rule. As I said before, Denari does not output gift information. It only gives you, name segmenter doesn't output gift information. There's one small exception to that, and that is this. If you use this filter over here under giving statistics, use gift amount range, we looked at this earlier, and under calculation, any of these calculation methods works, and we put in summation, and let's say we want anybody who's given more than $500, and I'm going to give it a date range. We'll just say last year or whatever year you're in. If we use this filter, and remember this filter is a set, all 3 of these go together. If we use this filter, Denari will put over here in the Excel output an extra field called HVG underscore sum. Now the HVG stands for having, but the point is the summation is what's going to cause that sum to appear there. So it would be HVG underscore sum. That column in the spreadsheet is going to show you the actual summary gift amount for each of those donors in that date range that you specified over in the filter. So it is actually giving us gift information. It's telling us what the donor gave in that date range. So in addition to the statistics, the giving information, you can also get the gift information. And that was done, even as it's a violation of the rule, it was done to just simply make life a little bit easier so that you don't have to go to some other report in order to get this information. So we can get a list of names that meet a certain classification, that live in a certain zip code, etc., and get their gift information in that HVG field. Now, if we had chosen average, for example, as our calculation method over in the filter, the field would be called HVG underscore average, and so forth. So count will do the same thing. We can get a count of the gifts that appear there as well. So again, this adds extra fields. Now, we also have these other options of adding fields. One is we can add classification info. Adding classifications, though, is a little bit dangerous. Again, we're starting out with this large spreadsheet. So if you have, let's say we have 500 classifications, and we add all 500 to that spreadsheet, basically what Denari is doing is adding columns to that spreadsheet. So if you can visualize the spreadsheet, you've got each donor on a different row, and then across the top we have columns that represent each of the fields of information that we need, and then out to the right, Denari is going to add on those classification columns. So if we've already got, say, 50 columns in the standard spreadsheet, and we add another 500, we're now up to 550, which exceeds the limit of Excel. And that's not a Denari thing, that is an Excel thing. Excel will only display 256 columns. And it doesn't tell you that it's cutting it off, it just chops them off. So when you choose to include classification info, you have to be very selective about which classifications you're going to include, and this is how you do that. Let's go back to the Donors tab, Name Classifications, and we'll just pick one of our classifications here. In this setup form, we have a field called Export Name. And if you read this text, what it's telling you is that if there's something in this field, then this field will be included when you check that box over in the name segment. If this field is empty, this classification will not be included when you check that box. And so this is how you can control, and I would recommend that you limit the number of classifications that you might ever want to include in the output to maybe 10 or 15 or something like that. And if you need to add one, you can come and do it on the fly. Let's say this particular mailing that we're doing or output that we're doing, we need this one in there, so we can come here and fill that name in and then hit save and then go run our name segment and it'll be included. So again, you need to be a little bit judicious about those classifications that you include. We're going to stop there and we'll pick this up in the next segment.